I was just a young 10-year-old boy, ready and excited to enjoy this summer's family vacation to Branson, Missouri. This was the first year my dad's side of the family started tradition on taking a trip with each other every summer. Me and my dad talked about all the fun activities we had planned to do, and I could not wait. I could barely sleep every night because of all I could think about was this Branson vacation. Little did I know it would turn out to remain in my memories as the trip with one of the most traumatic stories. It is a story that every other family member looks back at and laughs hysterically. Sadly, I do not have the same emotions when thinking back to July of 2012. At the start of our trip, everything was going smoothly and living up to the hype. Our hotel room was really nice, and I thought it was so cool that we could go swimming in the pool every day. I knew we were only going to be there for a quick 5 days, and I wanted to enjoy every minute I could. I think I might have annoyed the adults and disrupted their relaxation with my constant need to go and do something, but I was having the time of my life. The days were filled with go kart riding, amusement parks, and fine dining. I swore I was eating the best meals of my life. Towards the end of my trip was when it took a turn for the worse. On the morning of the fourth day of vacation, I found out we were all heading to the water park that I had been looking forward to going to since me and my dad talked about it back at home. I was overwhelmed with excitement since the day had finally arrived. I quickly ran up the steps to tell my sister Morgan to put her swimsuit on because we are about to have the time of our lives. Little did I know I would regret that decision as the day went on. I wish Morgan would have sat this day out looking back on it. We arrived at the park and I was told to put sunscreen on before I was allowed to even think about going on the slide. I immediately was drawn to the biggest slide at the park and couldn't help but stare at it. I was putting my sunscreen on as fast as I could, ready to race over to claim my spot in the long line. I convinced my sister, Morgan, to go on it with me too. I was basically jogging to the water slide and moving as fast as I could without losing Morgan. We finally reached the line and I could relax a little bit. My sister and I stood in the long line for what seemed like days. I was tired of standing in the blistering sun, but knew the experience of this water slide would be worth it, or so I thought. Once we finally reached the top of the giant metal staircase, I was brave enough to volunteer to go down the slide first. I sat on the blue, steep slide and prepared myself for a great time. The ride down is not what ruined my entire trip, it was Morgan's. I reached the bottom of the slide and patiently waited for my sister to follow. Little did I know, this big blue slide would no longer be the most exciting part of my trip. It was rather about to be the reminder of the worst part of my trip. I could hear my sister screaming with excitement all the way down, and I could tell she was getting closer. She came towards the bottom of the slide. I noticed she had decided to go down the slide on her stomach and head first. Bold move. I was pretty surprised she took this approach, but I was also proud and sort of jealous I didn't think of that. I'm not exactly sure how it happened or all the details, but I do know I was traumatized to see that my older sister's swimsuit top had come off on her way down the slide. I also had to be the one to point it out to her since she was so wrapped up in the excitement of the slide. She did not even notice for what seemed like seconds. It was probably 10 seconds if we're being realistic. Needless to say, it is one of the most traumatizing experiences I have ever gone through and ruined the rest of my day at the long awaited water park. I am forever scared by this experience and hope that one day it will stop being talked about in the family. What started out as a peaceful and fun time in Branson with my family turned into a story that will haunt me for the rest of my life. My family can still tell this story and laugh all night, but for me, I would rather never hear these events being replayed ever again. They look back at the summer of 2012 as the first summer to start a fun tradition in the McCarthy family, but I took at that summer as the last time I could ever look at my sister the same way. As much as I try to forget it, somehow it is being told every once in a while around my dinner table.